I think a great guitar should make you feel that connection instantly the moment you touch it. You know, music is very personal, right? And sometimes you gotta be in the zone to perform. And having the right guitar that you don't have to worry about really set your artistic side, your music part free so you can concentrate just on the playing. Hey, what's up? This is Herman Lee here from DragonForce, and I am so happy to be here to finally show you my signature guitar in collaboration with PRS Guitars. This is the PRS Clio. So my story with PRS actually go way back. Back in 2006, Paul Smith himself got dragged by his son to go see a DragonForce show. He had no idea what he was gonna get, but he loved it so much. We got to hang out in the backstage and had a good chat with him, but we really knocked it off straight away. So the year after, I actually got to visit the PRS factory, and I was so amazed, I was so impressed of how the guitars came alive. You know, seeing these incredible instruments is one thing, but actually going to the factory and seeing how they build, how they put together, I just couldn't believe. I was like in heaven. Later on in that year, Paul offered me to do a signature guitar with PRS. And to be honest, I was kind of bummed out because I was thinking, oh man, I'm not ready for this. So I ended up doing that signature guitar with another company because I already had that design ready to go. And I said to Paul, look, I'll talk to you again once I'm ready. So in 2018, I went up to the PRS booth at NAMM to catch Paul and the team. I said to him, look, remember you offered me a signature guitar back then? I think I'm ready for it now. My last signature guitar of another brand was designed in about, I guess, 2007. So I had that for 12 years. And throughout that 12 years and more, I had experienced much more in terms of understanding music, guitar playing, how an instrument is built, and how I would like my guitar to be now. Unfortunately, my previous guitar didn't evolve enough throughout the years, and I always wanted to change it, and I couldn't really do it. So I thought, you know, the best way to do it is come back fresh and start again from the beginning. So when I approached Paul, I actually said to him, look, I know this can be much better, and you're the only person crazy enough that will actually take on this task. Are you up for it? And he just looked at me going, let's do it. We started the R&D process, and one thing I said to Paul is, I think it's time for us to make something that is gonna work for the modern players that doesn't exist out there. I don't want to just make a signature guitar. I want to make a guitar that anyone out there can pick it up and make it their own. I want to make a guitar that is completely new and groundbreaking that doesn't exist out there. PRS made me a first prototype back in 2020. So how the process worked, I remember drawing something and I put on the computer and I would edit some kind of shape and I would send to the team at PRS, and we would work together before the first prototype came out. And already, you know, I was really impressed by how the team and I was able to work together to get out this first prototype, which is actually quite different from this one. The team would also send me a computer drawing, which I can rotate the guitar on my screen and then look at the measurements and see how the process has been progressing. The back and forth really went on for many years, and later on I went to visit the factory and we really went on to the computer and look at how the whole design was worked, the measurements, all the little details. We really went through everything. And the final result, really, when I saw this for the first time, I couldn't believe my eyes. The way they made the jack, the way they made, you know, the finish, the look of the guitar is incredible. For me, the most important thing about a signature guitar is that it's gotta be identical to the one artists play on stage. And I can tell you, this guitar, after testing multiple prototypes on tour, this is exactly what I use on stage and in the studio. I take my guitar all around the world on tour. And funny enough, a lot of the time I put it in a soft case and I would check them in and people say, oh wow, why would you do that? I said, look, if this guitar can't get through a flight like this, it shouldn't be on tour with me. I'm really rough with my guitars on stage. So we did some unconventional testing too. But I said to Paul, look, let's throw this guitar around. Let's see if it breaks. And if it does, we gotta fix it.
Yay! What a good moment.
So I kicked it 200 times and I finally broke it on purpose on stage. But this was one of the most important part of the testing processes because then we really found the way to dial in for the perfect neck joint. And here we are. We have an incredible neck joint that give you so much access, make it so easy for any player with different hand sizes to play the guitar. And we're not just talking about the neck, we're talking about the electronics, we talk about the knobs on the bridge, on everything on the guitar. So I tell you, I am very, very confident of the durability of this guitar. So after years and years of testing, I'm so happy to finally be able to show you the features of this guitar. The first thing people ask me about neck is, are these dragons? Yes, they are dragons. These are the Eclipse Dragons inlay. Yes, dragons are cool. I agree. So the body is made of mahogany with a maple top. There are lots of different carves actually. Looking at it on the computer, I remember talking about it. It looks like something from out of Star Wars. Not only does it look cool, but I can tell you that every carve here on this body is made for a reason. If you look at it from the side, from different angles, you can see there's different shapes of this body. Some parts are thinner and some parts are thicker. They're made for a reason to reduce the weight of the guitar, to have the right balance, but of course for the playability of the guitar. Oh, I love the input jack of this guitar. The guitar cable is actually really out of the way. It goes really deep in there. And the reason for this jack is this. With a front-loaded jack here on a lot of guitars is in the past on stage, when I grab the tremolo bar here, my little pinky sometimes get caught on the cable and it's like, oh, I can't move. So now with this input jack put this way, it's completely out of the way and you don't have to worry about it coming off on stage. It's really secure. And if you're using a wireless system on the strap or cable through the strap, you can see it really tucks it out of the way. It's super usable and looks cool too. I love satin finishes on the guitar because even when it gets sweaty on stage, it doesn't get sticky. I just love the feel of it. It's really smooth along with the neck. And the neck is thin, perfectly for fast playing, but not so thin that you lose control when you bend the strings. The radius of this fretboard is actually 20 inch, so it's super flat and it's perfect for the modern players to take advantage of that. And we have I guess the first time, because I haven't seen one before, a 20-inch radius double locking nut on a guitar. It's really smooth in the corner, so if you're playing fast, you don't have to worry about cutting yourself or hitting the nut here. That sometimes, it can be sharp. The frets on this guitar, they're PRS jumbo frets. And I like jumbo frets because it just makes it easier for you to play fast. For vibrato and bends, it makes it much more controllable. This is definitely what I recommend when it comes to playing fast. On the sides of this neck, we also have glow-in-the-dark dots, so you don't have to worry about getting lost sometimes in a dark stage, or if you like practicing the guitar in a dark room like me with all the lights off, so you don't have to think about where the fret position is, you can use these to check too. And as you can see here, this is a set neck, and the way it's set in, it really is very easy for you to play the guitar. We have 4 scallop frets here on the high end. That scallop frets give you that extra moment to help you control the frets when you're doing fast, high bend. And now that we're here, I can show you how incredible the engineers at PRS have made this neck joint. Most guitars you probably get here and your hands are stuck and you kind of have to bend your pinky. With this, I got so much room. Look, a pinky can go all the way here. So apart from having a lot of access here on the high frets, we also made a carve here at the back of the body on the lower cut. I like to call this the knuckle cut because it helps a lot of the modern players, especially if you're doing 6-string sweep picking here, to not get in the way of your hand. And on the headstock, I love these lightweight locking tuners from PRS. And I always like having lightweight tuners because they just sound better for me. I think it improves the sustain and the tone. So at the heart of this guitar, they are the Fishman Fluence signature pickups, the Omniforce that I designed with them. When I was designing this pickup and this guitar, I really wanted to be a super versatile instrument that can play really all kinds of style, from metal all the way to soft, rock, jazz. You can go ultra clean to ultra heavy, and with all this pickup switching, you really can dial in different tones, from classic tones that you love hearing, all the way to really finding your own sounds. And of course, we have a middle single coil pickup here, and I know a lot of guitar players, especially modern players, is gonna go, oh no, he puts a middle, it gets in the way of my picking, I can't play this guitar anymore. Don't worry, of course, that has been thought out. This pickup here in the middle is voiced with the right level. It actually installed low flush down against the body, so it doesn't get in the way of your playing at all. So each of these humbuckers are built with 3 different voices. So we have voice 1, 2, and 3. And you can access these different sound with the push-pull switches here. If you pull the tone up, you'll switch between voice 1 and 2. And the volume up and down, you switch between voice 1 and voice 3. Or if you're on voice 2, over here, you can switch between voice 2 and 3. Voice 1, I would say, is like a modern take on a passive pickup with the Fluence technology. The sound of the pickups is pretty aggressive, it has a lot of output, and it really responds to harmonics. So you can do your pinch harmonics, you can make the guitar really scream the whammy bar, no problem. It doesn't actually sound like an active pickup, even though it does need power, which I can show you in a minute. With the voice 2, which can be switched using the tone knob here by pulling it up, I get a passive pickup sound which is a little bit more like the old school way without the Fishman Fluence openness. With voice 3, we're going on a distinctive single coil pickup sound that I really love, and I voiced that against some of my favorite single coil sounding guitars. So the combination depends how you like to set up your guitar on stage, and that's how the switches at the back of this guitar work. So we've got 2 micro switches here. One of them is to disable the tone. Although I love having a tone knob, especially in the studio, when I'm on stage, I don't really like to use it, and I don't like to sometimes knock it by accident and change the tone on stage. So by engaging the tone bypass switch, when I'm on stage playing, this has been disabled and I don't have to worry about it. And the second switch here, if you prefer to have voice 2 on all the time, by switching this on, the default of the tone down now become voice 2. So there are a lot of sounds you can make on this guitar. So make sure you check out the diagrams and all the different new demos that shows you all the different positions and tone you can access on this guitar. And you can probably see here, there's a little USB plug here. Well, that's for charging the rechargeable battery, which powers the Fishman Fluence system. You can just recharge this by a USB cable, and a full charge will last you for weeks. So after all these years, I think we have cracked it to make a guitar that has all the capability of a floating double locking bridge system without all the frustrations. So we have a Godot GE 1996T model double locking bridge here, and I really like this bridge because we got locking studs here. Locking studs are important because it keeps the post completely still, so no matter how aggressive it is, it just wouldn't let that little micro cent go out of tune. And we have enhanced this bridge with a PRS stabilizer at the back, Right now this guitar is running in a 3 springs configuration. You've got 3 normal springs here, and this is a double barrel stabilizer. And how does the stabilizer work? Well, on a normal locking bridge guitar, if you bend the string without stabilizers, the bridge will move forward. On this guitar, you can see if I bend the string, the bridge does not move. That means none of the other strings are going out of tune at the same time. You can imagine if you're bending the string and the double locking bridge is moving forward, at the same time it's fighting your vibrato, it's fighting your bend. So this is behaving like a fixed bridge guitar. So you can have your wide vibrato, your bends without having to worry about any of the strings going out of tune at the same time. And you can see there's different adjustment you can do on this stabilizer, so it will work for all kind of players. You can tighten up the springs if you have a stronger, bigger gauge strings, and if you're moving the bridge settings, you can also adjust how long the stabilizers are to accommodate the different bridge positions you like to set up the guitar in. So there are at least 3 different ways you can set up this bridge of the stabilizer. And one of the ways, of course, you can remove the stabilizer completely if you just want to have a traditional floating bridge setup. My experience with working with the PRS team has been really incredible. And I'm not just saying it just because I'm on their video, but the reason I'm saying this is because it's true. Just, from the first time I saw the factory to now, the way they work the guitars, it's really a labor of love. They're not just here to go to work. They love what they're doing, and it really shows in the guitar when you look at, how it's incredibly built, from the beginning to finish. So this is definitely the right place for me to make a guitar. The journey has been incredible. We've learned so many things, and the experience just been amazing. So I hope you too get the chance to play the PRS Clio, because we're so proud of what we have achieved. So thank you.